It was open at the side.
Video?
Have you not done any of that?
That's my concept.
You know what I'm going to
They're almost exactly working down. That's how it's he's actually very interested
been to one so far. We had another ticket. We went with a couple, we went with Margaret.
Michael, say hi.
Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Can everybody hear Michael? Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. This is Michael Loberfeld.
They can see you on the screen because we put that up, and they should be able to hear you, we hope.
Well, Rabbi, I can hear Ann and Alan, I think, if I recognize their voices correctly,
Yep.
speaking. So I can hear them pretty well. Not perfectly, though, but pretty well.
I'm sorry, you buy everything 8x8.
Let's see if this works.
Come early. You know, when we were there, it was cold, so we didn't come early. And the year before, we did not. It was like people, you know, people were in the tables and they're fine.
It's very cool. Last time I was in Tanglewood, I literally earlier in the day got a call from my friend Brian saying he has an extra pair of tickets in Stealing Arrow. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I love Mass Mocha. Mass Mocha is so much fun.
Shabbat Shalom, Marge. Shabbat Shalom, Suzanne. Haven't seen you in a while, Suzanne.
Hi, Michael. I just got
How
home,
are
so
you?
I'm eating dinner.
How are you? Are you eating dinner? Okay, I'm sorry if you're eating. Probably can't talk and eat at the same time.
Michael, how you doing?
Good, Marge. How are you?
I'm here.
Okay, good.
That's about it.
Of course, I was saddened to hear the news about Gary last week, you know.
Right, we all were.
Yeah, absolutely.
What can I say, Michael? There's words, dear.
Hi, Neshama.
Hi. Let's see, I'm not getting the right pictures yet. Let's see what I can do.
You were on the screen a minute ago, and then the screen changed, and you were something, and the couch was on the screen, but you were there for a minute or a
Oh,
few seconds.
are there
No.
still going to be afternoon services?
No. The group decided not to have those for now since people could come on Zoom.
Okay.
Neshama, your camera's facing the other way, so we're looking at your couch.
Oh dear. Let's see.
You have to do gallery.
Now you're good. Now you're good, Neshama. We can see you
Thank you.
perfectly now.
Thank you. Marge, can you hear me?
Yes,
Do you know if Natalie is going to the Charlie Brown luncheon?
no, I don't. And I haven't asked. Why do you ask?
Well, because she's having trouble walking with a cane, and I would like to help her. If she goes there, I'd like to work with her on that.
Are you talking about Natalie Darwin
Yes.
is walking with a cane?
She said she wants to, but she's having difficulty using it. And she feels that, it's very important that she doesn't fall. So, but she hasn't been able to use it. And I'd like to work with her with that if she goes to the luncheon.
Well, I think that probably will be taken care of, Neshama. It's very kind of you, but I think I think that she'll have help, honey. Did you hear me, Neshama? Did you hear me?
Yes,
I think she'll be okay.
I heard you. Thank you.
And thank you for your offer. But I think it'll be taken care of. If she comes, and I haven't asked.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We are gathering our congregation here in the sanctuary, and we are also gathering people online, and we'll start in just a few minutes. Let me know if you can't hear me. I assume all of you can hear me.
I hear you fine.
You can log in on your phone.
You're very thoughtful, Neshama. You always come up with. You're very considerate, as you know. But just thought I'd tell you that anyway, Neshama.
Well, I try. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you doing any writing, Michael?
Yeah, writing some poetry. Short poems, mostly pretty short poems.
Well, send them to me. I love to hear what you write.
Oh, okay. I haven't typed too many up, but I guess I could if I was. I could type a few up. Yeah, thank you. I'll have to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Now,
Marge,
why
your video
can't I
is
see
off.
Marge?
Marge, your video is off.
Black and white.
What?
And Suzanne, your video is off too.
I don't see everybody, only Michael and Rabbi.
Yeah, that's the same with everyone.
That's
Their
because
videos
their
of
video
Marge
is
and
off.
Suzanne's videos are off.
That's because I choose to leave it off, Rabbi,
Okay,
tonight. I may put it on later, but I'm not dressed up and all that.
all right. I will inform you that if you do come on, everybody here in the sanctuary can see you, so. We have a big screen set up here. Here, I'll show everybody what the sanctuary looks like.
Suzanne, you're on mute.
So
Shabbat shalom.
this is the big screen where everybody you can see. And this is let's see if this is right. Kendra, you want to stand back there?
Here I am, Nishama.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, okay, hello.
I don't see anybody else who's on Zoom. Am I missing something, Rabbi?
Yes, put it on gallery view. We found that. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Okay, the cantor has advised me that the proper way to refer to people is people who are on screen. Everybody wave at the people on screen. And people who are on site. So everybody on screen wave to everybody who's on site. Online and on site, that makes more sense. All right, everybody online, wave to everybody on site. That's you guys. And everybody on site, wave at your spots. You're on site, they're online. I messed it up, doesn't mean. Hello, Suzanne. So that's nice. We even have a minion on as we go through. So this is an experiment for all of us. What we are trying to do, I received a letter from not even a member of the congregation, but a woman who sent a letter to a number of congregations who found it difficult to attend her own congregation because of her disabilities. And said one of the great gifts of this time of virtual services was that she could attend services with her congregation. She could participate with them as well. And so she begged us, as well as all of the other congregations, to make sure they maintained this opportunity for people who aren't able to come out and be in person to join us here. So we are committed to doing both of those. This is the first time we're trying it. We're hoping we're going to get a little more advanced and be able to use our camera back there, figure out how to get that put so we don't need this tripod in a way, and then we'll figure out a way to get a camera on you guys as well. So when you wave, the people at home can see you. But it is good to be back together, good to be back here in our congregation, good to be, as we are spread out all over the world, also be spread out here in our sanctuary. And so we are going to start off with a song about the beautiful spaces that we create together, even if it's usually in the morning service. I thought it would be fun now. And the cantor is Sephardic, so we're okay.
Repeat after me song.
74 in the blue numbers. Those are 192 in the blue numbers. Israel.
And what I want to encourage everyone to think about is to look how good it is to be together in all the ways that we are together, and how beautiful are our tents, in quotation marks. Obviously no tents, but our different spaces that we come together from. Let's sing it one more time.
Let's read together, because we can. This is a prayer that comes from our prayer book that we also read when we dedicated this sanctuary 6 years ago. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden. Thanks to express, hope to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. So we will light our Shabbat candles now. Let's invite up our president to light the candles for us.
Goodness and mercy, please, oh, hear.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now, since we have this moment to give thanks for, let us take a moment to say the prayer when we are glad to be together. So all of us, whether you are online or on site, let us celebrate this moment of gathering together in our sanctuary. All right, if you want to turn and look at everybody around you, give them a Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy it. Take a look at people you may not have seen in quite some time. Some of them have grown, gotten a little bit older. Some of us have a little more or a little less hair. I have both, depending on which part of my head you look at. And now, as for all of you didn't recognize, I'm the rabbi up here, Rabbi Abraham, in case you didn't recognize me. All right, we rise now for the Baruch Hu. At home, you can face the ark on the screen or face the east.
146.
Let's read together an appropriate reading from our prayer book. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of the light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravi. Torah is what God has revealed to us and what we discern of God. Ideas and ideals, laws and mitzvot, our religious heritage. It unfolds our memories of Abraham and Sarah, of Moses and Miriam and the prophets. It is legislation and explanation, allowing questions that challenge, answers that inspire, all a quest for meaning. It is our way of life, a path for our souls and the design for a better world. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohei v'amo Yisrael. Page 152, if you are following your book. Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Yehod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. Hey, Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levacha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadarim ha'ela, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom ha'levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'divarta b'am, V'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'shofecha u'kumecha, u'shartam me'od al yadecha, v'hayu letotachot b'einecha, u'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha, leman tizkeru, ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'lohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. For those of you who felt a little penned up in your homes and are happy to be here on the other side in our sanctuary, let us use that idea of redemption as we sing the Mi Chamocha together.
Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Wrap me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Wrap me in your arms and guide my steps. Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Wrap me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Walk me in your arms and guide my steps. Yishameru ve'enei Yisrael et HaShabbat Asot et Dorota Meritonan. Neini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam leolam. Sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim et haaretz, ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinach.
You all of you who are online, a chance. I put you back up on the screen. You can wave to everybody who has joined us. We move from the Shema and its blessings to the next portion of our service, the Tefillah. And so we invite you to rise. At home, you can face the ark on the screen or face the east. Here, we'll face the ark as we continue with the Tefillah. One 164.
Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu, V'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Elohei Hagibor V'Hanorah, Elyon, Gomei Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakom, Ezoter Hosei Avot V'Imahot, Meviyu Ani V'Lehem, L'man Shemo V'Achava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Bani, Avodat Adonai, Magid Avraham, Bet Yatzorah. Agibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayech Al-Korata, Ve'Hoshia, Morid Hatzah, Mezocher Vayim Be'Hesed, Mekayem Hakol Be'Rachamim Rabim, Samek Melchim Ve'Ofei Tolim, Umatir Asirim, Umekayem Emnato, V'Shenei Achbar, Michamot HaMagurot, U'Midron Me'aram, Melech Minit U'Mekayem, U'Matzliach Yeshuvah, V'Ne'eman HaTorah Chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekayem HaKol. Kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom, Yamanot v'sela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. So in this part of the service, it is our Kiddushat Hashem, or Kiddushat Hayom, the holiness of the day. So what we'd like to do is go around and give everybody an opportunity to share something that in the past Shabbat, in the past week, was something special they want to celebrate. So if you'd like to go back, think for a minute. We'll start with our people on screen. I'll call on you. And then we will see, is there anything that you would like to share that happened in the past week? I would like to share that this Shabbat, I am no longer the parent of children.
My youngest child became an adult at the age of 18 today. Neshama, you want to go? Unmute yourself. Neshama, you're on mute.
Yeah, my family and I Zoomed, and that was super wonderful, seeing my great grandson and seeing all of them. And, you know, I was able to meet friends at a restaurant, which I wouldn't have done earlier. And it's wonderful that I feel that the world is opening up.
Michael?
There's probably several things, but I'll just mention one or two. I saw someone who I hadn't seen in a while, and we both said it was nice to see each other. And like Neshama, yesterday I went to a gathering of a poetry group that I'm in on Zoom, and we got together in person. The people that I've been seeing on the screen every Tuesday, I now got to see them in person, and it was really much more energy. And you know, seeing them in person was a different type of energy that I was receiving. So I was thankful for that. Thank you.
All right, now we'll mix it up a little. David? Jonathan Nadine? Cernas?
You're on mute. Flora, you're on mute.
Well, we'll get, hold on. We're doing it in the sanctuary at the moment. Go ahead, Emily. All right. Take the mic.
There's a microphone.
While the cantor's getting the microphone, why don't we go to the Darwins?
So we were very moved and grateful for all the outpouring of love and appreciation for Gary Darwin during the days of Shiva and going forward. So thank you. Thank you all very much.
All right, back to the Cernas. Cool. Harris's. We skipped Pam and Mark. Tilt the mic part toward you. No, tilt the top of the mic toward you. No, maybe it's off. And announcements and introductions will be as soon as we get the contract inked, we'll send all that out to the congregation. I think you turned it off. Is it green or red? Okay.
Now, can you have good?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I would say the good things that happened this week were I got lots of hugs from people I haven't been able to hug in a really long time. And I was happy to meet somebody at once as well. And I started doing Pilates reformer at the gym, and I'm starting to have some balance and actually being able to move better. They're being even better than I ever did, so I'm really grateful. I'm just so happy to see everyone. Be back with everybody here. Our wedding anniversary, our 19th anniversary is past.
Mazel tov.
Very grateful to get back to you. We're very grateful to get back to live events.
So when Lisa's voice faded, it was because she was very cutely turning to her husband, Frank. So she turned away from the mic to look at Frank, and then you couldn't hear her. But we'll pass it back behind you to Dan.
Well, I was lucky enough to be able to pick up my daughter Marina from school yesterday, April. And it's always fun spending that hour and a half in the car with her, just talking and listening to music, and it's really special. So happy she'll be home with us for a few days.
So Hamilton, it turns out, is having a crafts show on Sunday at the train station. And all at the table there will be showing and selling by scarves and all my little stuff. Just like something to do.
We didn't tell them, but I'm just.
That was the Saltzmans, not a Larry Trent.
It's nice to be here. I've been involved with the reopening committee to see this competition and actually in person. It's very true. The other thing is my daughter's a senior in high school. This year she got her together year high school yearbook to see her and reminisce about all those years. Less than 2 months she's going to college. So it's kind of bittersweet.
Did you see me in the yearbook there? Cool.
It is great to be back here.
All right, before we go over to the cartons, let's go back to our online group, Arnold and Margot.
Well, we had 2 special times. Last Saturday, we went out with friends for dinner, and we ate in the restaurant, and then they came back to our house for dessert. And then Wednesday, Arnie and I had a date. We went down to the shore, we walked in the boardwalk, and we went out to lunch. So 2 things that we haven't been able to do for a long, long time.
And may I say, what a pleasure it is to see the lovely Darwin faces of the ladies.
The women, the beautiful women in that family.
Suzanne.
I am just happy that I have my sisters. I was thinking about that while everybody's talking. So I'm very blessed to have my 2 sisters. And I also am happy to see the Darwin family. And I'm very, very sorry. And I hope that we were able to support them. And I'm glad that that helped them, because we'll be missing Gary very much.
Barbara, did you want to add anything to that? Michelle, did you want to say, no, you were there, Michelle, now you're gone. We were sharing good things that happened this week, and I already took Esri the fact that we no longer have children in the house. You're on mute.
We just had lots of sweet things over the last week of just time together, and Ezra with lots of simchas, lots of good family moments.
All right, now to the gardens.
I had the house myself for I think 5 hours this week, the first time in like a year and a half. Well, now I didn't actually want to share for a while. So that was it. Well, it was, I think, our third whole week of school this week, and I really like to like figure out time to be here and the library where I work my father during my school years.
Shorelines.
I spent some time with my parents. It is that's been very really a long time. So since that happened, so.
Just seeing that in person here.
Crosses.
Thankful that he's me.
Got it.
Actually, I'm thankful that they are celebrating his first year. Moving from 2th class to 4th class next year.
Wait a minute. How are you teaching him how to count? Got it. Okay. 6 is next. So we say together the blessing for this day, Baruch Atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Blessed are you, God, who makes the Sabbath holy. Now we'll take a moment, since we're all together and so much has happened, to pray for peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Yisrael,
We got a chance to share out loud, both on site and online, what it is that was special for us in the past week. Take a moment for the prayer of our hearts to give thanks, to hope for a week to come, just to process this moment, reinvigorate ourselves, draw in strength for the week to come. We take a moment for silent prayer.
Page 180 in the script.
Shalom, Shalom,
Now we continue with Seder Kriyat Torah, which during we will install our board and officers. So you should all have a copy of the program, or it'll be up on the screen too. For your parts, I would like to invite up Logan and Ryan to open the ark for us. Please rise. In the Haggadah. Please be seated. So now that the Torah application is covered for a moment, we're going to proceed in our service to the installation of our officers. So let's bring that up on the screen for everybody. Take a moment of prayer to acknowledge the sacred responsibility that our temple trustees and officers assume on our behalf in this moment. We must mark not only the trust of the congregation and its leadership, but our combined hope in the bright future of Temple Shalom. So now we invite up our officers for 21-22. President for her second term, Pam Brander. Second term as first vice president, Bill Nadell. Second term as second vice president, Jonathan Kaplan. Second term as secretary, Emily Cerna. Linda Niebren, who's not with us, will be having her second term as treasurer. Jason Ross, his second term as assistant treasurer. And Mark Nussenfeld, though we know he did briefly come up on Tuesday, is not here for his second term as immediate past president. We also invite to join them, first our new trustee, Larry Trank, as well as our continuing trustees, David Carton, David Drapkin, Jerry Flood is not here, Dan Jablon, Matt Klein is not here, Aaron Laufer is not here, David List is not here, Beth Mitchell is not here, but Lisa Rossello is. Hope you brought up your scripts because it's a tough angle for you guys. In ancient times, the people of Israel gathered in the courtyard of the temple, and the priests would invoke upon them God's blessing. These words, which have survived the ages, depend on new generations to make the old new and the new holy. As the leaders of our congregation assume their positions of responsibility, we call upon them to dedicate themselves to the sacred task of leadership and building up our community.
Accept the responsibility of listening to the ancient words of our tradition. Through our deliberations and actions, we will always strive to enhance the dignity of every member of our community, our synagogue, the people of Israel, and the people of the world.
Recognize that our responsibility as companies to safeguard these values, try to always act so that each member of our community may bear witness without life-affirming presence.
We dedicate ourselves as continuing trustees to the sacred task of leadership, which successive generations of temple boards assumed since our synagogue founding in 1913, over a century ago, inspired by Jewish tradition, by faith, ethics, and love for our people and all people. We pledge to continue to participate and deliberate in ways that fulfill our people's covenant with God.
All right, Hebrew test. Oh, really? Oh, not on my screen. Yeah, it would if I put it on the screen. All right, let's read it here because you've got it here. I don't have it on the screen, unfortunately. So I was going to have you unmute at home, but it seems I forgot that slide. So congregation, if you would read. And English. Oh, it's on the screen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy by your commandments and commands us concerning the needs of the community. All right, so now that we have you up here, if you want to do the Aliyah blessing, we'll even give you a sheet for that. We'll be reading from the Parsha Korach. Again, not the most auspicious Torah portion for swearing in new officers, but we'll get to that in a minute. We'll be reading from the book of Numbers, chapter 16, verses 1 through 4. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Amen. Aikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kohat ben Levi, Bedotan va'Abiram b'nei Eliav va'on ben Pelet b'nei Reuven, and Korach took up Korach the son of Yitzhar, the son of Kohat, the Levite, and Dotan and Abiram the sons of Eliav, and On the son of Pelet of the tribe of Reuben. Vayikumu lifnei Moshe v'anashim mibnei Yisrael chamishim u'matayim. Misyeh Ada Priye Moed Anshe Shem. And they rose up before Moses, and these people of the children of Israel, 250 strong, were leaders of the congregation, well-known people in their moment, people of great name. And they, Vaikalu al Moshe al Aharon, Vayomru aleichem Rav lachem, Ki kol, and they rose up against Moses and against Aaron, and they said to them, you have gone too far. Ki kol ha'edah kulam kadoshim b'tocham Adonai umadua hitnasu al kahal Adonai. And they said, because all of the congregation is holy, and God dwells amongst us, why is it that you lift yourselves up over the congregation of Adonai? Vayishma Moshe v'yipol al panav, and Moses heard and fell upon his face. Amen. We take this moment for the blessing from a couple portions ago in the book of Numbers. When the time comes to place God's name upon the community to use these words of blessing. For those of our officers and trustees standing before us, volunteers standing in for the whole congregation, we ask for this blessing. Yevarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May the light of God shine for you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may God turn God's face to you and give you a blessing of wholeness and peace. And we all say, Amen. Paul, start over, okay? Paul, start over, okay? We also take this moment, we have the Torah scroll in front of us to remember those in our congregation, those in our community, those across the world who are in need of healing. We will sing the first verse part of Debbie Friedman's Misha Barak for healing, and then take a pause to remember by name those we wish to remember for healing. We'll start with those online who can unmute themselves and share, and then we'll continue in the congregation.
Be the source of strength, oh, bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Remember for healing Annette Rothman, Barry Myers Stassauer, Ira and Barbara Margulies, Ben Lavoy, Sandra Kahn, Drew Wainert, Jan Kulik, Lauren Miller, Claire Biscay. And if you're at home and would like to share a name, please unmute yourself. Jody, if you're sharing, you're still on mute. Jody, there you go. Go ahead, Jody.
No, it's me now.
Paul Weiler, Neil Schiff.
Arnold Margot.
Shauna Litsky, Gloria Furstenberg, Mary Solomon, and Sangeeta Mehta.
Mark.
Cheryl Weintraub, Sister Katrina, Kelly Cohen, and all those in need of healing.
Ms. Shama,
Marilyn Shoren and Claire Biscay.
Michael,
Helen Seti, Larry Machia.
anyone else? Now we turn to those on site.
The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We rise now to return the Torah scroll to the ark. Thank you, Holden and Harper. You may be seated. So, we come to this week's Torah portion and its interesting message. You guys are going to miss the fun part. At least they closed the ark for us. On this Shabbat, we learned about Korach, and we've talked a little bit about Korach all week. Korach is a mid-level leader in our people's past who is curious as to why Moses and Aaron are the big leaders and in charge. Korach, along with two others, rises up and says, what's going on here? You guys do too much. And we see what the reaction of Moses is at the end of the part we read this evening. Moses is just so exasperated, he falls on his face. Well, I think all of us can completely understand that reaction. We talked about it on Sunday at the annual meeting. Most of us are pretty much at the end of our ropes, and anybody who says anything to us and seems not to be sympathetic with where we are, we're ready to fall on our faces out of exasperation. Again, we talked about on Sunday that probably was not the best reaction Moses could have done. How could Moses have integrated Korach and his people into a collaborative form of leadership? That's the challenge for all of our new officers and trustees. How do we take the pulse of the congregation? How do we take something that seems by its very nature exclusive and make it engaging and have people feel a part of it? People feel that decisions get made in closed rooms or closed Zoom screens because no one else is there. But if you don't take time, who actually in the last year, I could ask Barbara, has actually taken the time to say, can I read the minutes of the board meeting, which are available to everyone? It is incumbent upon a leader, or it is incumbent upon people in power to take time to think about not only the people they know, not only the people who are complaining, but about all of their constituents. And a slightly side note, the other thing we are marking this evening is a holiday which may be new to most Americans, which will be celebrated next week in our community on Saturday, the festival, the holiday of Juneteenth. Easiest way to remember, you can remember July 4th is on the 4th, Juneteenth is on June 19th. Yes, many days end in ink, but it sounds a little like that. It is a holiday which commemorates that at a late point in the Civil War, slaves in Galveston, Texas, had not heard about the Emancipation Proclamation. Unsurprisingly, because where they were in Galveston, Texas was part of the Confederacy. It was not in the interest of their masters to explain to their slaves that if the war was going to be lost, they were all free. But a general in charge spoke to the African Americans who were enslaved in Galveston and informed them that they were free. Oddly enough, this becomes the moment that African Americans have chosen to celebrate as the ending of slavery, not the Emancipation Proclamation itself, but this moment when it finally got to this community in Galveston. So I want to share with you a couple of things. First, some background. Many of you know I've served on the ministerium in Scotch Plains and Fanwood. I've been president once or twice. It is a gathering not only of the faith communities, but also of the municipalities. I was also a founding member of an organization known as Social Justice Matters. Social Justice Matters is a group that was formed about a decade ago, a little more, after an incident of a police chase, which was jumped on by white wing supremacists who try and recruit here in Fanwood, or there in Fanwood. And the mayor of Fanwood, Colleen Marr still at the time, came to the ministerium and said, we need to do something about it. We had a community-wide meeting, and out of that meeting came the group Social Justice Matters, which has engaged in the community in conversations about race, both small and large, private events and public events for the last decade and a half. They're the sponsoring group for the Martin Luther King Day of Service, although that started independently at the same time. And when about 3 years ago, there was an incident at our high school of racist graffiti, because of the conversations the leadership of Social Justice Matters had with the leadership of the towns, they formed, a conversation came about, and what was decided to be formed about 1.5 years ago was a Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Committee, a joint committee with representation from formed by proclamation of both towns and the Board of Education. with representation not just from each of the town councils, members at large, members of the Board of Ed, the mayors and the superintendents also both participate in this committee. I serve on the committee at the moment as the representative of the ministerium, and there are representatives from Social Justice Matters as well. When this past year happened, nice beret, Lori. When this last year happened, we see, let's see. I want to point out Florrie's beret there. She hasn't turned into a potato, so that's good. When this committee was formed, it was followed based on a model by the Kellogg Foundation. The Kellogg Foundation had sent money to sponsor TRHT centers in 10 universities around the country. And the goal of the TRHT centers was, as we talked about a minute ago between Korach and Moses, to erase the hierarchy of human value. To answer that very question, aren't we all holy? And to say, yes, we all have that spark of the divine within us. We are all holy. And in the challenging moment that came about a year ago in May, the TRHT decided that there was time to have a listening campaign. And those of you in Scotch Plains and Fanwood may have participated. There were various open sessions over Zoom on policing, on education, a few were led by students and recent alumni of our high schools. And the committee has put together a report, which I commend to you. We presented this report to, let's see, I'll bring that up here. Thank you. So the TRHT page is hosted on the Social Justice Matters organization.page. And the report that was created is placed, it's about 22 minutes, so I won't make you watch it now. But the report is right here. You will see on the commission is our own Amy Winkler. So you can talk to Dan Jablon about that as well. We also have many members of our congregation who are members of Social Justice Matters. Ann Saltzman, who's here. Mike Zito, Linda Wolf is on the board. We have many members who are involved as well. But right here is the link to the report. So I commend you to go there, Social Justice Matters /TRHT, to see the report from the listening tour. The important part is at the end of it, there were various things that were cited needed to be happen. And there will be some community arts events, a community that's working with the Board of Education on issues of education. There's a group that's working on policing, and there's a group that's working to have what are called racial healing circles, opportunities for people to come together in conversation, and we will be sponsoring some of those as they happen as well. But in addition, I would like to share with you that Social Justice Matters. So when we showed that to the ministerium said, how do we bring this to people? And so we decided all together on this Shabbat to share this work with our congregation. So that's what I'm doing now. In cooperation with all of the other congregations who are members of the ministerium, sharing what it is the TRHT is, asking you to find out about that work. And also, because it is this week and next week is Juneteenth, to take a moment to let you know what's going on here in town to commemorate Juneteenth. So there is quite a bit going on here in town. Again, if you go to socialjusticematters.org, you'll see we have a page with all of the events going on. There's the big flyer, which I believe has gone out in the flame. There's going to be programming that starts pretty much at 2 o'clock at Shady Rest. And if you don't know the history of Shady, who knows what Shady Rest is here in town? Some of you, Shady Rest is the first African-American owned country club in the United States. John Shippen, who is the first golf professional in the United States, who was an African-American, was in residence there. This place, if you've gone, it's an amazing kind of little building. Have Callaway played there, all of the great kind of artists of the 30s and 40s and 50s. It was later made into a golf course by the town of Scotch Plains, but they've restored Shady Rest. And so there's a nice museum there for John Shippen, and there's some other stuff about Shady Rest. It is firmly within what has been one of the black neighborhoods in Scotch Plains. Why? Anybody know why that's one of the black neighborhoods in Scotch Plains? So back in the day before drainage was better, all the runoff that came down from the Watchung Mountains crossed 22 and flooded this area. So it was cheap swampland. So that was where they let African Americans settle. And it was much cheaper and a poorer section of town. There's also one of the activities that's happening. See if it's here. We are in the process of doing an oral history of a neighborhood right behind where CBI is, right behind where Congregation Beth Israel is. A possibly Jewish developer said he wanted to create an area of where he was developing because of redlining, that would be a place where African Americans could find affordable homes. So there is this whole neighborhood that was originally African Americans that is right by the school there, right by the swim club, and there are some of the original residents who are still there. So there is oral history gathering that's going on, and they do a reunion every year. They're going to reunion. We're going to present these things. So there'll be opportunities to talk about the oral histories, to learn about Shady Rest. There will also be a mini golf and some performances and poetry, some music, and a presentation of the movie Harriet about Harriet Tubman. What is great about this is that the community of Scotch Plains and Fanwood, we've been doing, the Socialist Centers has been doing a Juneteenth. This is the 4th year we've done a Juneteenth program. The first year was at Willow Grove down the road, and I think the next year it was down at Grace Episcopal Church, and then last year it was online. This year, both towns have jumped behind it. And so Scotch Plains and Fanwood are co-sponsoring and participating in events. So we encourage you next Saturday to participate in Juneteenth. Stand there, be proud, represent yourself as a member of Temple Shalom, and show our support for this holiday, marking the end of slavery, or at least of chattel slavery in the United States. So I started by talking about the difficulty and about knowing about your constituents and all of your constituents. We have a diverse congregation. We have a diverse Judaism across the United States. You heard the cantor say that she was a Sephardic Jew, but the term that's often used is kind of Ashkenormative. We think that all Jews came here from the shtetls in Eastern Europe. All Jews' grandparents spoke Yiddish, and all Jews looked like Eastern Europeans. It's not true. It's not true not only because of the vast diversity of people who become Jewish over the last few generations, who have joined the Jewish family, but also because there are strong Jewish communities which have developed all over the world, formerly in China, but not so much there anymore, in Africa, notably in Ethiopia, in Uganda, in India, as Jews traveled out the Silk Road, and all over the lands of the Middle East, North Africa, et cetera. So we are a very diverse community. And so we often say things like Jews and African Americans, not realizing that there are Jews who are Black as well, and not just here, in places around the Caribbean, where Sephardic Jews came into the United States from South America, from the Caribbean, as well as coming from more traditional Sephardic lands overseas. But beyond that, we as Jews have a responsibility. I commend to you, I won't give a full sermon on this, to find an article which was written about the pogrom that happened in Tulsa 100 years ago. And I use that word pogrom very deliberately. I was going to write an article, but there's a better article that was written in the JTA, which you can search for. And the reason to call what happened in Tulsa a pogrom is because what happened in the time in which the white population of Tulsa and the government of Tulsa turned on the Black population that was wealthy and which they were jealous of, and had airplanes and military weaponry to wipe out the citizenry. We need to call it a pogrom, not so we can go to Black Americans and say, hey, we know this is like, our parents fled the United States because of pogroms. Acknowledge that that fact, which is a very fear in our culture, as we think of Ashkenazic Jews. One of the legends that we all think of in the Ashkenazic Jews is, why are we here? We are here because of the pogroms in Eastern and Central Europe. That those pogroms, which made it untenable for us to live in Eastern Europe, which caused hundreds of thousands of Jews to flee that area and to come to look for life somewhere else, including here in the United States, is something that happened here in the United States, in a population that has still been here and has remained here. And imagine what it is that if we have that feeling about those pogroms, that they still bring up fear in us, how it must feel in that community. So as we go through this Parsha and we think about Korach and we think about his indignation, and we are tempted with all of the things going around us just to fall on our face and bury our heads in the sand, it is actually our responsibility not to do that. to listen to what it is that is bothering people, to think about how we find the humanity and the holiness in everyone, and to actively go out and lift up that holiness in their life. All right, our service continues with the Aleinu. See if I can bring that up on the screen. Please rise. Take a moment now, as we do in every service, to remember those who have come before, those who were a part of our kehillah, part of our tradition, part of the story that we tell ourselves and each other. We come to the names of someone that you are here to remember. We ask that you please rise or unmute yourself if you are at home, and then share with us, if you wish, just a brief word or sentence about the person that you are here to remember, so we can remember them with you. We remember this week, in the period of Shloshim, Florence Leaf, the mother of Jody Darwin. You guys are on mute still. There you go.
She was a really fun mother, and all her grandkids just loved being around her, as did her children.
Ellen Hollander, friend of Anita Leppelstadt. Gary Darwin, longtime member of Temple Shalom, son of Natalie Darwin, husband of Jody Darwin, sibling of Flory and Alan Darwin, and parent of Lane and Grant Darwin.
Gary was always the one in our family who would stand up at this time to say something about whomever we were here to say Kaddish for. And I can't take his place, but I just hope, I don't know that there's anybody else who could have had a better son, a better brother, better husband, a better father. He was just special, always. And we were blessed to have him.
Gary, sorry.
Let me try this.
Yeah. Gary was one of the warmest, most inclusive, welcoming, just most generous people I've ever met. And he yes, he just, his spirit and his enthusiasm about being together with people he cared about infused and added a lot to every family get together. They were a great joy for him, and his feeling about the family just enhanced everyone else's when we were together. Ellen, were you going to say something? And we
Those
miss
whose yard site occurs on the Shabbat: Dora Beshover, Samuel Becker, Miriam Candib, Yetta Cohen, Barbara Davis, Martin Eisenberg, Betty Engel, Ann Friedman.
Anne Friedman was my grandmother, and my mother's yard site's also tonight. And it's interesting because the two of them were the most important women, taught me a lot in my life, made me who I am today, for different reasons. And I miss them very much.
Myrna Friedman, Max Glass, Louis Goldberg, Henrietta Goodman, Helen Harris, Melvin Kay, Joe Casu, Helen Koenig, Oscar Freeman, Jack Leitner, Gerald Levy, Joseph Luber, William Henry Mers, Joel Moskowitz, Bertha Pogoski, Max Papel, Abe Posner, Zev Remba, Hannah Schiffman.
And I always felt that after it wasn't really years ago that I learned that my grandmother was also around the end of the hands and named after her. So when I think about this hand, I think about probably the whole line of my players that were going back the centuries of very connected.
Ruth Schoenberg, Arlene Scherer, Ellis Singer, Samuel William Spivak, Eva Stoloff, Faye Talbert, Ida Tenenbaum, Isidore L. Venko, Sina Warsiger, Ava Zucker. Are there any names that anyone would like to add?
Rabbi, could I add a name or say something about Sina?
Mm-hmm.
Sina Warsiger, I think she was a longtime member of the congregation, but I didn't know her too long, but she was a good friend to me and really connected so well with me, almost like one of those people that was like a mother to me. I didn't know her too well, but she did have that motherly spirit and that sharing towards me, even though we didn't know each other so extremely well, but we had a great feeling toward each other. So I do remember her.
In their memory, in the memory of all those in our hearts, all those recent victims of violence, the illness that plagues our world, and all those who have no one to recite the Kaddish for them, we rise as a congregation to recite the Kaddish tome, which you can find inside the back cover of your prayer book. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Yalma divarach yirutei yamlich malchutei. V'chayecho v'yomecho v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach l'olam l'omei almaya. Yivarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha v'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Pushbechata v'nechamata. Ta'aviran v'yalma v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim malenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yamru amen. Shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yamru amen. May the source of peace and peace to those who mourn, and comfort those who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. You may be seated. And for the first time in 16 or 17 months, we invite up the president of our congregation, Pam Brander, to share the announcements with us this evening.
Okay. Good. I just want to welcome everybody to the sanctuary tonight. It feels so good to be here together in person. I'm just really pleased to see everybody. We actually have a fairly busy month coming up. First off, tomorrow, June 13th, Emily Cerna is working a Crohn's and Colitis Foundation fundraising event at Liberty State Park. And, you know, if you've known anybody who suffered from this, you'll know that Crohn's and colitis are very debilitating conditions. And so a donation to the cause would be appreciated. I'm sure Emily could fill you in on how to do this. And of course, in the flame, in the information provided through the temple, they'll give you a link so that you can sign up and make a donation. So we should all make an effort to participate. Now on June 22nd, Sisterhood Book Club has an event. This is author Rachel Beanland, who will be speaking. Her novel is Florence Adler Swims Forever. So Sandy Sobel and Linda Wolf can be contacted for more information. Excellent, excellent. I'm not familiar with the author, but I so it's a very good book. Must be a lot of fun. Okay. Okay, June 25th, we're going to have our traditional early service with hot and cold hors d'oeuvres for the children. So of course, have pizza, bagels, and hot dogs, among other things. And on June 19th, calendar has a pray and play session for the little ones. On July 2nd, we're going to have our 4th of July Temple barbecue. So I invite you all to come. I've been talking about what kind of menu we're going to have, but we're going to try to keep things within COVID, sensitive to the needs of COVID care. And we hope you'll all come and have a pleasant time. Okay, lunch with the rabbi, June 24th at 12:30. Rabbi, you're going to do that on Zoom, or you're going to have that live? Your lunch.
Oh,
are you going to do? Okay. And then Ellen Berman, I have to mention that Ellen Berman is trying to form an adult confirmation class in memory of Gary Darwin. So those who are interested should contact the office to sign up and participate in this event. Anything else, Rabbi? If I've forgotten anything on your list or calendar, you're having your meditation.
That's not the memorial.
Okay, so, okay, here we go. We have, I think, 2 more Music Mondays. So if you were curious and you wanted to check it out, your time is running out because hopefully in the summer, choir will be resuming in person in some form. So Mondays at from about 8 to 8:45, we learn a few pieces of music, some information about it or the composer, and we chat because, you know, we chat. So if you're interested, it's over Zoom. Come check it out. If you are interested in joining choir, new members are always welcome. Just let me know and I'll add you to our email list. And we're figuring out exactly how we're going to do it. We're going to, I'm determined we are going to do something. Well, playing with a few different ideas. Not wheeling the piano outside. Maybe a keyboard. And midweek meditation is Wednesday mornings from 9:30 till 10 o'clock-ish. That is staying on Zoom into the future. It's one of the nice things about to do on Zoom because some people will come in their pajamas and some people will squeeze it into their workday because it's just half an hour. And since it's on Zoom, they could just do it from wherever they are and then, you know, go do what they need to do. So as long as people continue to be interested in that, we're just going to keep doing it. So again, you're welcome to come check it out. All of the links are on the flame. All right.
I just want to mention that since we had the annual meeting on Sunday and we just swore in the new board, you do not have to be a member of the Board of Trustees to be involved. We are looking to revive our group that helps with membership recruitment. So if you are interested in participating in that, we're going to have an organizational meeting to figure out where we're going from there. Talk to Pam about that. If you are interested in helping, we have a full schedule of our Temple Shalom social fundraisers put on the calendar for the year to come. So of course, casino night and other events. And if you'd like to be part of the planning or helping for those, also talk to Pam or Bill, and we can direct you to the chairs of those various events who can help that as well. So summer things are happening. Our Reimagining Barn Bat Mitzvah Task Force at Temple Shalom is happening. As was mentioned, our new Director of Education will be starting, and we'll be thinking about what the new year is going to look like. So just because it's summer doesn't mean things aren't going on. We're planning for all the exciting things that will happen through the summer and into the new year. Our closing song this evening, let's see if the cantor looked or it's just a surprise to her. She thinks it's something she'll need a guitar for.
I will sing unto God a new song.
Please rise. Let's bring everybody up on screen so we can join together for the benediction. I'll turn off my there we go. As we come together in a little bit of a new way, some of the old, some of the really old, combining into the new. A way we can reach out into our homes, still be present here in our sanctuary, in our home here, as we join together in Shabbat worship. May God bless you and keep you. May the light of God shine for you and be gracious to you. May God turn God's face to you and give you a blessing of wholeness and peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Everybody online, you want to unmute yourselves and say Shabbat shalom. I'll turn my mic on so you can hear.
Yeah, we're good. You can say Shabbat.
I have a question. I didn't
Hey,
hear
we'll sing
what.
Shabbat shalom first.
Oh, okay.
Not Ellen Berman.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
All right.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Okay. Bye. And